So your views have significantly dropped in the last couple of months, and every single YouTube growth channel has a different explanation as to why, right? Like secret algorithm files have been leaked. Google is reading your emails. Gemini is controlling what gets pushed. And all of these creators are just racking up hundreds of thousands of views, living off of what honestly I am used to, which is the newsroom. And that is that they are instilling fear and panic into you. So what? You continue to watch these videos. Now, I'm not going to lie. There has been a shift in the algorithm, but it's a lot less severe and scary as they're making you feel. And that is exactly why we're going to break down what exactly is going on in the YouTube space right now, because there has been some changes, but it's not going to destroy your channel. This is not going to destroy your business. And I really just want to take that fear out of you right now, because I don't want you to actually just consume my content. I want you to feel empowered and informed to take action. Welcome to my channel. I'm Ashley Bornanson, and this is Beekeeper Media, where we help you build buzzworthy brands without the burnout. Let's get into it. So in today's video, we're going to get into what actually happened underneath the surface and what this means for your channel, without the panic, without the agenda, just the truth, and how you are going to apply the new algorithm, the new tactics to your channel so you can grow and you can thrive. What you are not going to do right now is just give up on YouTube completely or spin out of control with overwhelm. So before we dive into the algorithm shift, I do want to acknowledge what I have been seeing in the YouTube education space right now, and that is that it really is starting to resemble the newsroom. And I don't mean that in a good way. So I want to paint this picture for you. I used to sit in these morning meetings where producers would go around the table and ask one question: what is trending and what is going to get the click? The answer was never, oh, what's going to be the most engaging story? It was always, what are people going to click on and what is going to go viral? And that answer was honestly always the same. It's fear, it's outrage, it's the story that makes you feel something terrible is coming and you are the last to know. We'd always say, if it bleeds, it leads. And that was the phrase we lived by every single day. And I watched talented journalists slowly becoming something they didn't recognize just to keep their numbers up, just to stay relevant. And I'm watching the exact same thing happen in the YouTube creator space right now. Channels with hundreds of thousands of views are just flooding your feed with panic content, leaked files, secret updates. YouTube is broken. Oh my gosh, get off YouTube now. I have bad news for you. And I want you to start noticing this, because these channels are making money off of your fear. They want you to stay watching their videos. They want you to be filled with fear and overwhelm. And that is the exact opposite that I want you to leave with on this channel, because I believe that if you are constantly creating content in a state of fear and overwhelm, you're never actually going to tap into your potential and trust your purpose, because you can't fully trust your purpose when you're constantly on the edge feeling like you're missing an update. And I also think this is really important to you as a consumer, because if you are constantly filling your brain with all of this panic and overwhelm, you're never going to really get into the flow state that you need to be to create genuine, authentic, and really compelling content here on YouTube. So with that being said, let's break down what is actually happening with the YouTube algorithm in 2026 and what you can tweak on your channel to really have a significant impact on your videos, on your views, and on your community. And by the way, if you're a creator or you're a business owner out there and you were just spinning your wheels trying to build your YouTube channel, go ahead and book a call with me below. I'll hop on a Zoom with you and we'll go over what's working on your channel, what's not working, and how to really optimize for success. Not only that, but you'll have opportunities like our Creator Hive group coaching, where you'll not only get to work with me, but you'll get to work with others in our community who are at all different stages in their YouTube journey. And what I've noticed is that you can go fast alone, but you go further together. And when you go fast, you tend to not know how to really build a legacy and a channel that will withstand all these algorithm changes. But when you have a community supporting you and challenging you, boy, you can go fast and far and not burn out. So if you're interested in booking a call with me and joining our group coaching program and our Creator Hive, check out the links below. I cannot wait to meet with you. So to understand what changed, you have to understand the root of the change, and that is, where are people searching? So a burning question. Whenever you had a question on your mind, you might have gone to YouTube for that answer. And where do you go to now? You're going to ChatGPT, you're going to Claude, you're going to Google Gemini. So That is a massive shift, right? Like content, especially during the pandemic, especially 2020 to 2023, really was taking off with how to make money online, how to grow a YouTube channel, how to do all of these things, the how-tos, because that was the place to find your content. But now you can get those answers in seconds off of AI, right? Be honest with yourself, because if you're like most people right now, AI is quietly taking a massive chunk of YouTube's educational viewership. And educational content is a huge chunk of the platform, right? Like you go to YouTube as a search engine. And the data is wild because Google Trends shows that search volume across some of YouTube's biggest niches, like how to lose weight, how to make money online, how to grow on YouTube, it has dropped anywhere from 50 to 75% from its peak. This is a massive dip, and it has structurally shifted in how people are getting their information. So if you are an educational content creator right now, you really have to shift your focus of how can I provide a deeper lens than AI can provide from just a quick Google search. So YouTube decided to do what any media company does when they see their core audience migrating to a competitor, which is they blew up their entire old system and they rebuilt it from the ground up. And what they built is fundamentally different than what existed before, which is why your old strategy stopped working. Even if your content didn't get worse, maybe your content you feel like is getting better and better. And here's what I think a lot of people aren't explaining clearly right now and could be the most important part of this entire video, and that is that YouTube is no longer a ranking system, it is a matching system, and that is not a small distinction. So for every person who opens YouTube right now, the algorithm asks of everything on this platform, what is this specific person most likely to genuinely value in this moment? So it's not comparing your video to other videos, it's trying to find the exact viewer whose life your video was made for and connect them directly to you. It does this through something I want to explain properly because it does change how you think about every single video you make. You've probably noticed this with YouTube's internal AI. It can now read all of your titles, your thumbnails, every spoken word spoken in your video through your transcript. And it converts all of that into what researchers call a semantic fingerprint. This is a meaning-based identity for your content. So two videos with completely different titles can share the same fingerprint if they're fundamentally about the same thing. And the algorithm uses those fingerprints to match content to viewers who are ready for exactly that topic, even if they had never heard of your channel before. But here's where this is getting really critical, because buried inside this new system is a concept that is quietly determining whether your videos live or they die. And it's called information gain. The simplest way I can explain it is if your video doesn't add something genuinely new to the conversation, talking about a fresh perspective, a story that hasn't been told, an angle that doesn't already exist on the platform, the algorithm will suppress it before it ever finds an audience. So YouTube's AI is now sophisticated enough to scan your transcript and determine whether your content is contributing something original or whether it's just essentially repeating what is already out there. So think about what this means in practice, right? Like the strategy that worked for years. Find a high-performing video in your niche, make a better version of it, benefit from the proven demand, the outlier. That strategy is now actively penalized because if you keep just doing exactly what your competitors are doing, and you're not adding anything new to the conversation, YouTube might not push out your content because it in fact knows you're just replicating what has already been on the platform. Therefore, you can have a great thumbnail, a strong hook, a well-edited video, and still flatline at a couple thousand views because the packaging was never the problem. The substance was. Most creators were just optimizing the exterior of their content, right? Their packaging, their title, their thumbnail, which is still extremely important because you not only, I believe, want to optimize for search, but you still want to optimize for browse. And this is also why some smaller channels with rougher production and definitely not even as polished of thumbnails or as polished of editing, they are quietly winning right now because information gain is not just about production quality. It's about whether you're bringing something new to the platform that hasn't been there before you showed up. So, what started to change within the YouTube platform where all the views started decreasing in the fall? Well, a big change that happened, you might have noticed, is the YouTube homepage got significantly more competitive. Because a few years ago, they used to show you about 30 long form video spots. And right now, you're looking at maybe 3 to 6, with shorts filling everything below that. So, YouTube did not change how it selects which videos to show it. It changed how much space long form content gets on the page. But, and this is genuinely really important because a significant portion of that view drop had absolutely nothing to do with the algorithm or the content quality at all. So another real shift worth noting is that YouTube is actively removing low quality AI generated content from the platform. And I think a lot of you can really breathe a sigh of relief right now because this means that your content should be leaning more into originality, into genuinely connecting as a human being, into being maybe a little rougher, into giving your perspective, giving your examples, your stories, your backstory, like the things that make you human. It's time to double down on in 2026 because this is what's going to separate you from the pack. It's also how you build a genuine personal brand. Because if you are just among the masses teaching the exact same stuff, reiterating, regurgitating the same thing over and over again, how are you going to stand out? You are going to stand out by your way you communicate your ideas, by your backstory, by sharing your vulnerability, by being human. We talked a lot about this in my latest video on how to sound like a human again on camera in 2026. It's so important. If you want to watch that video, it'll really help you connect with your audience more on camera. I want you to click the link below. But it actually clears out the noise competing for your audience's attention. The creators who hurt the most right here were already fragile. They were getting views because YouTube was being generous with this space. We all knew it. AI slop was everywhere the last couple of years, right? And it's not because they earned every click, but that bar went up. So that cushion disappeared. This is not a broken system. This is becoming more of an honest system. And here's where I want you to actually sit for a moment, because this is a layer that none of the panic videos are ever going to reach. And that is what is happening on YouTube right now. It is not just a technical update. It is a cultural reckoning, because for years, the platform rewarded volume, consistency, packaging. You could study what was working, make a sharper version of it, hit publish. And the algorithm was generous enough because it worked, not because the content was irreplaceable, because there was enough room for everyone. That era is over. And what is replacing it is the human being. YouTube is now actively rewarding what AI fundamentally cannot replicate, and that is personality, lived experience, emotional honesty, a real human being with a real point of view that you cannot generate with a prompt. The YouTube CEO said it himself in the 2026 letter. People are now watching more long-form content on YouTube than on Netflix. Creators are becoming the new Hollywood. That is not a dying platform. That is a platform that has matured. And matured platforms raise their standards. So therefore, I have said this so many times, but you really want to think about your content as if you are Netflix. I'm not saying you have to have the most polished production in the world, but I am saying that you really want to create a loyal audience and people who really love you, people who are actually so excited to watch your next video, because YouTube doesn't only want them to click on your video, they want them to return, and they are tracking those metrics of who is returning to your channel. Therefore, the question is not whether you can survive the algorithm change. The question is whether you are building something worth surviving for. So one of the shifts you can mentally bring to your brain and reframe in your head is, what can I only bring to this conversation that does not exist anywhere else on this platform? Because that question is going to change how you show up, because the matching system is trying to find the exact viewer whose life your content was made for. So if what you make looks and sounds like everyone else, it can't find that perfect person for you. But if what you make carries a genuine fingerprint, your specific background, your specific lens, your specific way of making someone feel understood, the system now has the capability to surface you to the exact audience who has been looking for you without your name. Your unfair advantage right now is not a better hook formula. It is a specific combination of who you are, what you have lived and what nobody else can replicate. So before you film your next YouTube video, ask yourself one honest question. Is there a version of this that only I could make? Not a different angle on the same information, but something that adds to the conversation in a way it genuinely wasn't there before. That is your information game. That is how you hack the algorithm, and that is your way through everything that just changed. And I think even more so, you really have to analyze, is my goal just to rack up views, or is my goal to create a cult-like following, to trust my purpose, and to really build something that is going to have a legacy, whether that is your business, your personal brand, your opportunities, your community you're building off platform. Really dive into it, because gone are the days of obsessing over vanity metrics. Vanity metrics are not going to move the needle of your business, your income, and your legacy. But when you focus on something deeper, what is your bigger mission for each and every one of your videos? And if someone else can just take your video and replicate it, it is not you coded enough. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. Something changed. The platform rebuilt itself, and some creators, they got hurt. And not all of it was their fault. The bar went up. The noise got called out, and the fear machine took full advantage of all of it. But the creators I've watched come through every single shift in this industry were never the ones who had the best algorithm strategy. They were the ones who knew exactly who they were, why they're here on this platform, who they're serving, and how they're making a difference with their specific background, their specific lived experience, and sharing their authentic solutions to help people grow and build out their legacy. YouTube is not working against you. It just changed what it rewards. And what it's rewarding now is the most human, the most original, and the most irreplaceable version of what you bring. This has always been the answer. It just finally became the only answer. And it's not only how we are going to structure our videos that are going to update and slightly change, but it's also going to be how we are talking to our viewer in the camera. So I want you to watch this video next, because it is going to be so essential that you really lean into humanity this year, because it's actually your humanity paired with learning how to use AI within your content and optimizing everything that is really going to connect with your viewer and bring your channel to life. I'll see you in the next one.